So by the president, presiding officer dictates the length of the meeting.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, I was like, you know what? I don't get on board with that. I would be happy to be driven around.
Okay, the call to order, the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees of Lufkin Independent School District is called to order at 5:15. Notice this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551, and a quorum of the board is present, and I'll ask that Joe will lead us in the invitation.
Please follow me. Our Father and our God in heaven, we come to you in prayer, Father. We're always thankful to just be your children. We're thankful for to have you as a God. We're thankful for this season where everyone is thinking about how thankful we are for all the blessings that we have. And Father, it's a blessing to be able to serve in this capacity as a board. And we pray, Father, that we always make decisions that are aligned with you and your will, also aligned with what's in the best interest of the students, the parents, children, faculty, and staff. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Okay, you will pledge us. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Texas flag.
I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
Okay, I'd like to welcome everyone. Thank you for being here tonight. This is an exciting time of the year because the school gets out early tomorrow. A lot of activities tonight, so hopefully we will have a brief meeting tonight so that everyone can get to those activities here in just a little bit. We did not, we'll move on to item number 5. We did not have anyone sign up to speak this week, so we will not have any comments from the audience. And so we will next move on to item number 6, administrative reports. Dr. Osborne.
I'd like to start by somewhat summarizing the work of the Bond Advisory Committee over the past little more than 2 months. 5 lengthy meetings on Monday nights. The process was, in my opinion, exceptional. I appreciate everybody that participated, the 73 to 80 community members, depending on how many were in attendance at any given night. And the discussions, the healthy discussions that were had, the visits on campuses, all the work that was put in, and especially the culminating event of Monday night, which led to some recommendations that will be coming to you as a board in January from the committee. It was a very exciting time for the district, a lot of work and great appreciation for the people involved. So I really look forward to January and the months ahead as we follow the path toward improving our facilities wherever you would like to go. So, and last, I just want to thank everybody in the room and across the district and community for allowing me and our team to do the work on behalf of the children and families in the community. It means a lot, and really appreciate you all and everybody else for giving us the opportunity to make a difference. So happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, everything else. That's all.
We'll go to the business office next.
Business office reports begin on page 6. On pages 7 through 11, we have the revenues and expenses for November. We are almost halfway through our fiscal year, but our expenses are just above 30%, so we are in a good position right now. On pages 12, we have our monthly investment report. We have roughly 30% of our funds with our depository bank, and the other 70% is with our investment pool. Of that, about 85% is attributed to our general fund. On pages 13, we have our tax collection reports as of October. The 2025 levy hasn't updated on your report, so you'll start seeing those percentages change as the collections are coming through. Does anybody have any questions on any of those reports? Being on page 14, we have the update for our Safe Cycle 1 and 2 grants. We are finalizing the last couple of projects that we are planning to use these funds for, so we have everything planned to be spent, and then the end of that grant is April 27th, so we should have more than ample time to get all the projects done before the end of that grant.
You said April 27th?
Yes. Yes, it was originally April 26th, but then they extended those out another year. I think they kind of saw some of the struggles of getting all those projects done in such a short period of time for all the districts. On page 16 is the capital outlay project update for December. The only changes from the prior month is just that the strength and conditioning equipment that y'all approved last meeting has been ordered and is set to be in the spring. Does anyone have any other questions?
Yes. The rear driveway, do we have a time frame to start that on LMS?
Carry on.
Yes, Courtney called me this week and they were already starting the bidding process, so GLS is gonna go ahead and take over all that. I'm assuming that it should be soon, but they have already started.
All right. Is that
And that concludes my report.
okay? The next item will be Education Services and Accountability Office, Ms. McManus, for the 2026-27 Lufkin High School Course Description Guide and new class schedule.
So, the course description guide, typically we're presenting this as information only. I've been doing this many, many years, and this looks a little bit different. We're actually also presenting for a change in schedule this year. I think you have everything in front of you, correct? And so we're not here for approval tonight. It's for information only. We want to be able to provide you everything and answer any questions that you have in this process. We have been transparent with our staff in making sure that we communicate in a timely manner. We started this process realizing that for flexibility and opportunity for our students, that we needed to look at a new schedule when we came together in August. So we had that conversation. As you know, we had a slight bell schedule change this year. And we needed to do that as we transition, and again, being very transparent and needing to move to a new schedule, again, for the flexibility and opportunities. With that, so once we got school started, I think it was right around the fall break, or actually it was before the fall break. It was our first staff development. We did a staff survey in looking at what is our staff looking at within a schedule. Knowing that we needed to look 7 to 8 period, what are they looking for? What are their concerns? And so what emerged from this process was the 7 period day. So within the process of 7 period day, the work started with TASB. It was very important to everyone, and to me especially, just in my role, to make sure that this process with the reason I wanted to contact TASB was to make sure it was equitable for all students. We have classes of 27, 28, and 29 that will continue on this new schedule if approved, where class of 2030 will come in and it will be their schedule that they've always had. And so making sure, we're on right now 31 graduation requirements, and we have been for many years. And so making sure that as we change this, that it is equitable for 27s, 28s, and 29s, what courses they still have to take and what we're offering, and to make sure that we were not creating problems or concerns or issues. So TASB had we had really good conversations with them and their guidance, and basically the consistency across the grade level with all students was their guidance to make sure that we do change with 27s, 28s, and 29s, as well as class of 2030 coming in. The next piece, which we already do, and that's your second bullet, is making sure that we continue to offer the continuation of advanced courses. We would, but not for a student that to make sure that they were not missing out on an opportunity. We currently offer dual credit courses in the summer. It is a hybrid schedule. It's an 11 11-day calendar. We offer in summer 1 and summer 2. We offer dual credit speech or professional communication is actually the terminology. We offer 2 dual credit psychologies, and just last summer we offered dual credit theater appreciation for the first time. So we do have advanced opportunities in the summer if a student was looking. Could we offer other classes? We could if the student interest is there. For a group of students that was looking for a particular class, you obviously can't offer AP in the summer, but dual credit opportunities within our MOU and our agreement as an early college high school on campus, we have the flexibility for dual credits through the summer. And then lastly on your bullet is the recommendation for graduation requirements. And that was, again, really looking at 27s, 28s, and 29s. They're at 31 credits. Do we taper that off along the way for each year, knowing that there's 7 class periods offered? We're currently at 31. And so the guidance and recommendation was to make sure we do that all at one time for all students so that we don't have different graduation plans floating out there. It is not uncommon to change with an entering class, which is the class of 2030, and have that class and everyone thereafter on a graduation plan and everyone else currently on campus, again, our 27s, 28s, and 29s to be on a different plan. You'll see that in just a little bit. The graduation requirement credit of 26 is the same, but you will see some tweaks. Some of those are state guided as well as a local decision, but I'll get to that in just a little bit. But that was the TASB recommendation and guidance in talking to them, which was really important to us just to make sure that this is equitable to all students across the board. So looking at your next slide of benefits and flexibility, again, in starting this process, it was also important that we're not losing something. And we are not losing, and it's quite the opposite we're gaining. We're gaining flexibility and opportunity for our students, again. And so the preservation of our current academic opportunities of dual credit in early college, high school is there and extends. An example of that would be, right now, you may take an AP course for 1 semester, and if you take it in the fall, you're waiting until May to take that AP exam. And you don't have that content currently just because we're on a fall or a spring type schedule, being the accelerated block. Within the 7-period day, the student's going to have the AP course all year long leading into their AP exam for the credit. Another flexibility and opportunity was just the program of study and really looking at careers and preparing students for whatever it's going to be outside of the high school. We do a really good job of offerings, but in a 7-period day, we're going to have more flexibility of guiding students through the courses to complete their programs of study within their interests. Can they change a program of study? They can. You know, we're doing a lot of work at middle school to really help explore programs of study and courses. And so as students continue to come to us, hopefully they'll have a better idea. However, we can't expect all freshmen to know exactly what they want to do. And so we'll still have the flexibility if a student does want to change within our 7 periods, and you'll see that in the graduation plans that we put together, how fluid that can be in offering the opportunity of completing their first program of study and or if they do venture out into a different program. Additional academic opportunities, because they're going to have the opportunity for more advanced courses within their 7 periods, and again, continue that for the entire year. And then the ability to be involved in a variety of programs. Again, when you look at the chart that you have of the different graduation plans, you can see that students have a program of study. They have a full elective every single year for extracurriculars too. And so we are not in this schedule limiting by any means. Again, we're actually the opposite and expanding our opportunity for our students. Shortened class periods. We have a lot of people actually looking forward to our shortened class periods. We're 75 to 90 minutes, and we have been for many, many years. And so looking at 50 to 55 minutes, it has been a positive and a lot of really good feedback on that. Any questions so far? I can answer as we go, or I can wait. Let me just mention this, the benefits. Right now, when a student comes to us and they transfer in, let's just say at the fall break, okay? Based on the number of weeks in a class, so we're finishing a class tomorrow and they're getting a full credit tomorrow. Well, a student that has transferred in at any point in the semester, they may sit in that class for no credit and have to repeat that class in the spring because they didn't have enough seat time of half of the credit or more of curriculum. And so the ability for students to, or the flexibility, I should say, for students to transfer in, because the majority of your schools in Texas are going to be a 7 or 8 period day. So what we see with transcripts, and Ms. Murphy's back here with counseling, what we see with transcripts that come in is we might have a half credit awarded from another school, where they're gaining another full credit from us, resulting in a credit and a half, where we're actually going to be able to keep them aligned for that one full credit and not have a local credit that we're now having to put on their transcript because that half credit wasn't actually completed. They're completing another full class with us. So it's just, and that may be a little bit confusing, not kind of being in the weeds with it, but it's going to offer additional flexibility for transfer students at any point in time in the year. Looking at the, everybody okay? Moving forward? Okay, sorry. Looking at the credit definitions and policies, this is just outlining the difference because previously, we're on our current schedule, I should say, a semester course for 18 weeks, a half credit, let me go there. A half credit course has been 9 weeks. Okay, so a half credit at 9 weeks and another half credit at 9 weeks. However, a half credit will be extended because of our seat time to 1 full semester. And then we will have year-long courses for 1 full credit that will start in August and end in May, which has definitely been the difference, but part of the opportunity that I was just explaining. I did want to make note, and a little bit later in the information, I'll talk about the specific courses, but we do have some semester dual credit courses that will be 18 weeks for 1 credit. And I'll explain that in just a little bit further as we look at those courses. Also within TASB and making sure that we're thorough in this research, we know that EI, EIC, and EIF local policies will be something that we will need approval on because they do work through graduation requirements as well as how we award credit. So currently we award credit on the final conclusion of the course with a 70 or higher. We will still be able to do that, but we will also need the ability to award at the half credit. So as we were moving to this schedule, as of tomorrow, we would be awarding a half credit rather than no credit for a year-long class. And so that's just something that within EI, EIC, and EIF local that we'll be looking at and bringing for approval if we're moving forward. So just know that we're, again, trying to make sure we do all the research to cover everything up front. Really trying to be proactive and not reactive later for things that maybe weren't thought through. The next slide is really just kind of a title slide that it is graduation requirements, because the next little bit shows you the distinguished graduation plan. So to be eligible for top 10% in the state of Texas with automatic admission besides the University of Texas, you must be in the distinguished graduation plan category with endorsement. The difference within a foundation plan and the distinguished plan is really the difference of Algebra 2. We recommend with endorsement. We recommend all of our students in that direction. We don't really know where students are going to fall, as well as it prepares them through Algebra 2. So all of our students definitely enter high school with the distinguished plan in mind. So looking at the one on your left-hand side, that would be for classes 27, 28, and 29, again, that would need to be approved. The one on your right in gold would be class of 2030, and I'll kind of talk through both of these at the same time. So Class of 2030, you'll notice that social studies only requires three credits for graduation requirements. That's actually been the law for quite a while. In 2012, when graduation requirements changed, we opted to continue with the 4x4 for English, math, science, and social studies credits. So going to a 26 credit plan, we really don't need to continue to follow that, where that's where additional electives and programs of studies are going to be able to be attained. So we would be moving to 3 credits of social studies for the class of 2030 and beyond. We would not change that for 27, 28, and 29 because as a student is entering 9th grade, your requirements need to stay the same across the board. We would not want to now no longer require a world geography when this student had to take a world geography because that is the inequitability that I wanted to make sure that we focused on up front and kept things the same across the board. That would be, so let me just mention the government and economics. So class of 27, 28, 29 will continue with government, and you see that on the class of 2030 and beyond as well. But there is a change for class of 2030 within the state that economics will transfer to a personal financial literacy credit, and that's just a graduation requirement. So that's not anything we're looking to have approved necessarily. That is a state change already. And then lastly, the BIM course, which is Business Information Management. So for many years, it was a very good introductory class that led into CTE, but it leads to 2 programs of study. We have about 15 programs of study. We want students to have the opportunity to go into their entry-level course that they have an interest in. And so BIM will still continue to be required for 27, 28, 29s for the same reasons that I just mentioned. But for class of 2030, they're going to have their opening or introductory level course wide open to them for their own choice. Any questions?
I have one. So, but one of my questions is BIM and speech, are those both local requirements, both of those courses, or are those state required?
So BIM is a local requirement, and it has been for many, many years for us.
Yeah.
Speech, professional communication is also a local requirement.
Okay.
It is included in the associate's degree or core complete for students within our early college high school.
Okay.
It is considered a CTE course as well.
Okay. That makes sense. And so, if I'm hearing you right, students who this year are freshmen, sophomore, juniors still have to take BIM.
Correct.
Correctly, but the next kids do.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And world geography is really already taught at the middle school already, so that was like a repeated class.
Within the 4x4, honestly, we as a campus and maybe as a district as well, we just never transitioned away from the 4x4. And so I'm not sure about world geography at middle school. It's another way to meet an endorsement when you have a 4x4. And it was just within graduation requirements many years ago that we continued with. So I can't answer that particularly, but there we go.
World history / geography.
Yeah. And explain to me, just because I know people are going to ask me why BIM is continuing for 27, 28, 29, just because the number of
It's equitable. It's equitable across the students that are already in high school.
Okay.
And honestly, we should have very few students that still need world geography after this year because it's a freshman level course.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
It's offered in academic or advanced, and so it would continue to meet the needs of any student in high school, but most students will be finished in May with that. I would say 99% even.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
On the government and personal financial literacy, is it going to be like half the year is government, the other half, or is it all just going to be co-mingled?
So it is a half credit each,
Okay.
and so government's half and personal financial literacy. Now SBOE is still out for discussion, and you see that in some of the to-dos within the legislature because SBOE needs to look at or is tasked with looking at the curriculum, and you're going to see in just a little bit, we have a new AP Business and Personal Financial course that is being added that is within AP, but it's also career oriented. So I'm hoping that that's a possibility that they will also grant that as a way to gain the credit. One concern I have is it is a full credit, where the personal financial literacy on its own is a half credit, so they may not go that route, but it is, I think, a possibility. That is a new course, and so we will be jumping on board with it. I've heard really good things just in looking at AP and watching webinars with some schools that piloted it, and so I'm hopeful that it will count for that, but no guarantee. Let me mention this because we're on personal financial literacy. Within the associate's degree of ECHS and or Core Complete, just depending on what a student's looking for, or just dual credit in general. The personal financial economics pairs with a dual credit economics right now. Personal financial literacy, we've talked to Angelina College already. I know Ms. Murphy had another school that did a crosswalk for a course that would also count for that. So we've worked with them already. We're 3 years out on that, on the actual need for it, but that is something that we've communicated with them about already. Classification by credit really leads into the next slide as well, because you can see you get a little bit of leeway with 7 credits a year from 9th to 10th grade. It gets tighter from 10 to graduation, which leads me to credit recovery. You know, we've always had a credit recovery program on campus. It has looked differently. It's been known as Panther Academy, where students that are behind their senior year, they have the opportunity to catch up, graduate early, whatever their needs might be at that point in time. It may be a student that has been retained from 10th grade and now they're in 11th, but they really should be in 12th. And so that's been the way Panther Academy has served the campus and our students. Credit recovery will look different, but we're aware of that too, and we're working on plans for that. The awareness is there. We don't have the exact plan defined, but credit recovery is very common with any campus, with any district, and so we're just looking for the right fit for us. Panther Academy has been where a student goes in there and they just do Panther Academy, which is through Edgenuity, online modules, where credit recovery would look like just one period for a student that is recovering a credit. They go to credit recovery for first period, they'll go to their next class second period, and for the rest of the day, and be able to recover that credit that way. We'll still have summer school just as we have, and so just really trying to, again, be proactive, knowing that there could be issues that arise, but as we work through this and before we go to an approval situation, again, just making sure that we're confident and research everything that we can up front.
I did have a question about that. The new credit also counts within the GPA calculation? So I know the old one stays on there, but the new one,
yes, sir.
It will balance it out.
Yes, sir. And right now, and there's actually also a GPA on the task as well for, I don't know if it's SVOE or TEA, but there's some conversations that there's some work being done at that level as well with GPA. But currently, every course that a student takes, with the exception of concurrent, goes into their GPA. And a concurrent course is if a student takes a class on their own time that is a dual credit, a college credit course on their own time. They're concurrently enrolled in both entities. And so a concurrent course does not count in their GPA, but obviously everything else in dual credits do.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. So looking at, again, trying to make sure we preserve and we're not losing anything. We talked to Angelina College already, looking at our MOU and the course planning within what we do offer. So government 2305 and 2306. There's U.S. government and that's Texas government. And you must meet the TEKS of both to get a high school government credit. So you have a high school government credit at a half credit, but you have 6 hours of college credit within that high school government, just making sure we meet the TEKS. So in the accelerated block, we had more time in a class, again, less classes, but more time in a class. And so with less seat time, we've already worked with Angelina College. We're just a few, a few hours shy of meeting the seat time requirement, because you see that's 2 classes. So they're 9-week classes within the college for 1 semester for us. And so they were happy to provide a hybrid program for us within any of these courses that didn't meet the college seat time. Hybrid would mean that the students in class and they would have some online work as well. And so that was not a problem to work through at all. I mentioned earlier on, you have standalone courses. So an example of dual credit that would not be standalone would be History 1301 and History 1302. You have a U.S. History that is a graduation requirement. It's an associate's in a core complete. Many students might take AP U.S. History. Many students might take dual credit U.S. History, and both are options. So within the dual credit, you have 1301 in the fall, 1302 in the spring for 1 full credit for a year-long course. They pair. So you don't need a standalone dual credit course for that. You can see listed the dual credit theater appreciation, music, finite, stats, and 2 Spanishes, because they can't pair with another course for the next semester for 1 credit. We wouldn't want to go into, just an example, dual credit statistics in the fall and continue into just a high school statistics. For 1, your dual credit is weighted and your regular statistics would not be, and that would not provide equitability across the full year of a weighted course. So looking at those statistics and finite math, 2 separate maths, you can't compare those, but you can't combine those for 1 high school credit. So the history was an example of courses that do combine, but then we have some that do not as well. So in working through the process, I wanted to make sure that was established. We would have some, but that will be master schedule work on the other side. If a student takes dual credit stats in the fall, we've got to make sure it's our responsibility that there is a course for them to take in the spring within the master schedule, with the majority of the classes being year-long.
So the 2 Spanishes aren't one
So-
in the 1412 and 2311?
No, those are 2 different courses. And depending on when a student would complete certain level of Spanish, it would be a Spanish 2, Spanish 3.
Okay.
Yeah. So it would be the 1 credit for that. Looking at new advanced coursework. So again, the AP Cybersecurity and AP Business and Personal Finance are new within our advanced coursework within College Board. Again, these are career tech related, and so we're excited for that opportunity. They're weighted, they're AP coursework. They're going to take an exam at the end of the year for college credit, and so it also is exciting to me because it's going to open up more opportunity for a student that might want to look for a weighted course, but it's going to gear them towards that pathway. It may gear them, they may not like it, but it will really be an opportunity for them to focus in maybe on an area they didn't know, because really they're looking for the weight. So that's a really good opportunity, as well as really good coursework and curriculum for our students. AP Pre-Cal. So we have many, for as long as I know, have offered advanced Pre-Cal and academic Pre-Cal. We will no longer offer advanced and academic. Your advanced will be AP. As far as an academic Pre-Cal, a student that's really looking at an academic Pre-Cal, there's other maths that will better serve the student. And so AP Pre-Cal is going to provide an additional AP course that will then catapult a student into AP Calculus potentially. I want to mention this. If a student has taken Algebra 1 in 8th grade, they have traditionally been able to get to Calculus 2 as a senior. But again, we're more opportunities, because this is really a good situation, because you've got Algebra in 8th grade, you have Geometry in 9th grade, you have Algebra 2 in 10th grade. We're adding AP Pre-Cal as 11th grade, and we're still going to have year-long calculus. And actually in the curriculum of calculus, you can cover all the material. The student can have the choice to take Calculus AB, AP exam, or Calculus BC, which is Cal 2. If the student chooses to take the Cal 2, they feel prepared. Again, all the curriculum is covered for both, and you can look at that on College Board and AP forums to see that. Then the student passes Cal 2, you get a sub-score for the Cal 1, and you've got 8 hours of college credit math within the calculus. So that was a really good opportunity, again, within this program, or within the schedule. Dual credit music appreciation, that is going to be another dual credit we offer. We currently offer dual credit theater appreciation. And so it just gives a student another choice within dual credit opportunities they have, as well as the associates and or core complete. Okay, so you have, I think, your charts next, is that correct, within graduation plans? Am I boring y'all? So I think it was a clickable, right? And then you had something that looked like this?
That's it.
Okay, so looking at, again, wanting to make sure we were proactive, I felt the need to work through many different opportunities of what a schedule could look like for a student. This is very fluid. Some of these courses are not required to be taken at that particular year, per se. Some are, like an English 1, English 2. So looking at the very first one you have, that's a generic 4-year plan. It just makes sure it covers all graduation requirements. You see the associate's plan, again, that's where the work came in with Angelina College to make sure we could still continue to do what we do well with the associates within the core complete, within a student that's an advanced AP dual credit student, and then also the advanced plan with AP dual credit and integrated humanities. The integrated humanities, as you know, has been our GT program, but again, offering flexibility for students that have the opportunity to apply. So this has been a very strong program for us, so I wanted to make sure I mention this. So within that program, you take English to Advanced, you take World History AP, and you take Art History AP, and we are going to continue that. So it does look a tiny bit different, where because of the flexibility with schedule and not locking a student into 3 class periods that are all combined together, we will continue with 2 class periods of World History, Art History cohorted, and your English to Advanced is fluid, wherever that fits in the student schedule. So, all good. TNTP is something actually that we've been working with. TNTP is the New Teacher Project, and that's an organization that has been funded by an outside group, really to grow your own. The probably nice thing for us was that it's an associate's with an education focus, and we already have the associates. So many of the planning pieces to this was really easier for us than a couple of other districts that are in the cohort, where the senior year there are 4 additional courses that we'll continue to work through, but this is also at the class of 2030 for anyone that's interested in teaching. And so there's 2 education math courses, and there's 2 educational courses just in general. I know one is called Special Populations. And so within the New Teacher Project, this is the ability to be able to offer an online course with our other partners within the program, which are a couple other districts around us. With that, the New Teacher Project really grows students into education, cohorts them, gives them opportunity on the SFA campus. Obviously, it would transition to SFA for students to continue straight into their major courses to be a teacher. And then lastly, within that plan is the STEM Academy. Again, and I showed it with Integrated Humanities. It doesn't have to be, because a student could just be taking, could choose to take an English to Advanced without the Integrated Humanities, but just to show anything that might be tighter, to be able to show that STEM Academy, Integrated Humanities, everything is still on the same route to completing for students and the opportunity.
What does the LOTE stand for?
I'm sorry.
It's in the advanced plan,
It's in the
APCC,
language of
Integrated Humanities, LOTE.
LOTE, language other than English.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
So if they've taken, so how does it affect the kids that have taken Spanish during middle school?
You no longer, that's wide open for you.
So there's not like, that's wide open periods.
Correct. It's a graduation requirement, but once a student meets their graduation requirements within LOTE, then that's a wide open course for a student.
Okay.
Now, let me mention this. LOTE is language other than English. We have two different disciplines that will certify that. Computer science also serves as a LOTE, and we offer 3 different computer sciences with AP Computer Science Principles, Computer Science Advanced, and then into Computer Science APA.
Okay.
Sorry.
I'm glad you committed all this to memory.
I've been doing this a long time. Okay. Moving into this set of charts. So this is, again, the program of study opportunity that is really going to, I feel like, take off with our incoming class of 2030. Not that we don't want it to take off with 27, 28, 29s, but being able to guide them with their 7-period day. All of our current kids in high school are going to have these same opportunities, but really focusing on their introductory level class and growing into that program into their IBC or the industry-based certification. These are still fluid, and I'll talk about that within the course description guide in just a second, a little bit on why. But really, we want to streamline and also be very strong in our industry-based certifications. If you look at some of our state data and accountability, we do well with CCMR, but our industry-based certifications are not where they should be. And so aligning that within our 7-period schedule is something we're going to have a better opportunity to do, where students flow through their program of study better. And so you see this within kind of an endorsement framework, where you see the endorsement at the top, you see the career cluster on the left-hand side, and then the program of study right next to that with the coursework. Again, this is fluid because we're still working and would need approval, honestly, to totally move forward and finalize the courses that we will offer within the programs for next year. And so any questions that I'm happy to go through each one, but I don't know if you want me to. You see the last one is arts and humanities. Obviously, it's not related to CTE or a program of study, but it is an endorsement for a student. So when I talked about the flexibility of having different programs within these schedules here, you see a program of study each year or an elective for that. You also see a full elective. That's an extracurricular elective. It may be extracurricular within fine arts. It could be a wide variety of what the student is taking or involved in. But I do want to mention that within the plans, the student has plenty of opportunity for their extracurricular and still being involved in a career choice or exploring career choices in moving forward.
And we'll still be offering BIM and speech in the summer to catch the STEM kids.
Absolutely.
Don't have the
And I can talk about that within STEM plans because it's not always needed for a STEM student to take a summer class. It is somewhat a choice depending on the courses they are taking and what they may have taken in middle school. And so we have actually started, and several years ago, Ms. Stover with the STEM Academy started doing the 4-year plans early, pretty quickly after we did the induction, so that students would have the opportunity for that very first summer. As summers get busy and they're gone in no time and they're walking the stage. And so you're really missing out on a summer if we don't do that immediately. So we really try to do that between May, really just May, and getting students entered in or enrolled into summer school if that's their request. So course description guide is next, and it is clickable. It is in draft form, and typically we're here with a nice shiny book. We have moved to a digital platform with it, and so we typically print 76 pages in a book, and we're reducing cost in that way, but it's also going to make it much easier for people to access as well as know where it is. And it has been in a print version, and so it's in draft form still because it needed to move digitally, which we've been working on. There's still obviously some things within that in January with an approval for the schedule, that there's some information in there that would need to adjust, to move forward. So it is in draft form. It is in the same format as it always has been. There's a couple of charts that, again, because things are fluid, that are not included yet, but the charts will be there in January when we would come back for a potential approval to move forward. You're welcome to peruse the drafts all that you would like. All right, next is just within the course description guide and preparing for January, because we do start registration in January and early February with students, with parent nights. We also included LMS CTE course offerings, because I've mentioned that too, making sure students have the opportunity to explore sooner and earlier. And so we've identified 4 principles or foundations courses that will be offered at middle school for next year. On your chart, you see other courses that have been approved in the past 2 years as we started this process. And so the asterisks that start with that course number there are the 4 new courses that have been identified. So principles in education and training, and then a student, if that's their interest, they'll come right into human services, child development, into what it looks like within the teaching and learning coursework. Principles of architecture is the course name. It's a focus a little bit heavier in construction, as we're not continuing, we don't have an architecture program, but we definitely do have a construction program that we're looking to work towards an IBC very soon. Principles of information technology has been offered at the high school and has been a very popular class. It has led into the cybersecurity track, as well as the Cisco Level 1 certification. So pushing that down will offer and provide a digital opportunity for students across the IT framework. And then Foundations of Business, Communications and Technology is kind of an entry level for a student that is interested in entrepreneurship and or business minded. Any questions on that? I know I'm kind of presenting for middle school, but they also have to fit within framework, and so I felt like it was a good place to present this information to. All right, next slide. We're almost there. Gosh, I'm sorry, I realized it's already 6:02. Additional information, again, just really trying to work through things and what has been and transitioning to what's new and new opportunities. So early graduates, we've traditionally had students that have graduated mid-year because you could start English 4 in August and finish in December. That's okay that we're no longer going to be able to do that, because Texas, per TEA, has a Texas First early graduation model. And if the student really wants to graduate early, there is a plan that is put into place with counseling. This is marketed and advertised every year. It's by law, has to be. And so we'll continue to do that for a student that would be looking to graduate early. I don't know that we'll have just a lot of that. We do have other opportunities for students outside of Lufkin High School now. And so just knowing that that has been something, probably 20 to 25 students graduate early a year. So we'll continue to be able to provide that opportunity as well. Credit denial. Obviously, it's a state law that a student must be in class 90% of the time. And so this doesn't change either. This is a law, but also how does that look for a student in one semester to the next semester with the course not ending until the end of the year? It's actually helpful for a student, because a student's going to know that they are in credit trouble or credit deficiency because of their absences mid-year and then towards the end of the year. where right now a student may not know until the end of the year, and it's almost too late to attend credit makeup. And then the 9 weeks grading period, in looking at a different schedule, we just wanted to explore between a 6-week grading period and a 9-week grading period across Texas for UIL eligibility. A 6-week grade check is done for every single school. And so we're on a 9-week grading period. So 3 more weeks, there's a grade check. The second 9 weeks, which is happening tomorrow, is a grade check. And the third 9 weeks. And so it was best for the campus, as far as all the changes going on, to not change that. And there didn't seem to be any concerns in talking to staff, with the possibility of this change of staying on the 9-week grading period. Lastly,
is there a majority of what the districts across the state do?
I don't actually know that on a majority.
Okay.
The last slide should be bell schedule, is that right? So within the bell schedule, starting this process too, easily you can have a 55-minute bell schedule for 7 periods. But in researching many schools and districts and campuses, something that emerged was an enrichment opportunity built into the bell schedule. It would make every class period 50 minutes. And the enrichment opportunity 25 to 30, that would be daily. What this would do for us is, it provides the same schedule every single day. If you're familiar with high school, we offer an enrichment schedule already, but that is on a different bell schedule than the traditional bell schedule. It has changed lunches in the past, and so lunches are off. Students don't know which schedule they're on. It is announced, it's in the weekly communication, but having an enrichment built into the 7-period day not only provides consistency in what schedule we're on, but it's going to offer more opportunity. And here's how that will happen. Within 1416, which is a House bill, and these are just a couple of reasons, it's not totally defined and worked through, but in thinking through how this will be a benefit, House Bill 1416 is a requirement within the state when students fail 2-star tests consecutively within English and math. So up to 15 to 30 additional hours of tiered instruction is required for students. We will be able to work through some of those minutes within a daily schedule of enrichment. Right now, our clubs and organizations meet 4 times a year because we have a lot of club and organization opportunities, but not on an enrichment schedule that provides that time. We only meet 4 times a year. We will be able to explore and offer more club meetings during the day while students are there, not having to worry about transportation or meeting early or meeting late in the day. So really excited about that as well. Also looking at a tutoring opportunity. You know what, we have 5 days to work through. And so a tutoring opportunity of what that could look like in tutorials on a specific day, if that's a study hall, whatever that might look like. The main piece to this is knowing the expectations for everyone involved, what we will offer on the particular days, and making sure that that's communicated. So that's kind of where we are on the bell schedule. If moving for an approval in January, then we'll really look to have that finalized as well with the course description guide. And I can take for any questions maybe I can answer.
Let's do this. In the spirit of moving this along, because I've got like
Matt has somewhere to be.
No,
I'm kidding.
No, I have like 3 questions, but our next meeting is January 15th. How do y'all feel about sending our questions to him so that you can be prepared to bring them to us? Everybody good with that? Everybody? Yes.
Kind of next steps.
There's a lot to think about. Yes.
And bravo to you. This is
Yeah,
it's
it's a lot of
overwhelming. It's a lot. And it looks fantastic.
I'd like to enroll.
Just
Right?
you want to? Listen, we've got some really good programs of studies and some AP coursework and dual credit, so come on.
Maybe challenge, for sure.
Just kind of next steps, just to mention that we start with class of 2027 parent nights on January 22nd, knowing that also aligns for potential approval from you guys on January 15th. So also thinking ahead on next steps, 27 is the first class because they will be seniors. moving through the next Mondays through Thursdays with class meetings that are scheduled, communications coming out with that in the mail to anyone that is looking for their date. But just knowing that those are really our next steps, needing to finalize a bill, finish the course description guide based on that. But we can definitely timeline-wise make that happen.
So you can make those meetings, the schedules work if we approve them.
Yes, sir.
We don't need to have a special meeting before that.
If you want. That'd be great,
We can.
but we can make it
I
happen.
heard yes first.
Yeah, we can do a special meeting.
Okay. But, communication wise and just trying to make sure we're going to have those, but, and we actually have parent meetings before we have student meetings for the obvious, so we're communicating with parents before we're in classes. The sooner the better, but I understand also where we are, and we'll make it happen if it's the 15th, but sure, I'll take a sooner meeting.
Yeah.
We'll look at posting requirements with the holiday mixed in too, so.
I heard her say she could make it 15 work.
But earlier would be better. Let's make earlier better. We've already done enough job this year.
Truly, we've been proactive so that we don't try to react. And so it would be okay if that's what is best for everyone. We can work through that. But I'll let y'all decide.
Hey, Julie, hold on.
Anything
I want to commend you for what y'all may not know. She's been working on this, and some people have been helping her, but primarily Julie's been working on this for a year, maybe longer. And it isn't her sitting in her office figuring this out. She traveled to schools. She brought back the best that across the state and put it together for Lufkin High School and Lufkin ISD. That's how thorough this is. It's the very best she's observed and worked on and put it together the way it did.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
Okay, we are still on item number 6. We'll move to administrative services. Dr. Spikes.
Yeah, my little small report.
Yeah.
Page 32 contains new hires, injuries, on-the-job injuries, resignations, and so on. Also, my support services report is on page 34. The only thing I just want to draw your attention to is that 7 out of our 12 campuses have been audited, all successfully. Our intruder detection audits. So I want to commend our campus leaders and all of our campus staff and students who have done a wonderful job keeping our campuses secure. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Spikes. We'll move to the approval of consent agenda. We'll go through this individually, but as you know, at the end, some routine items are grouped together into a single consent agenda. Any board member may request that any or all of the items on the consent agenda be removed or considered as a separate item. No such request is made. All items on the agenda may be approved by the single action of the Board of Trustees. So we'll go to 7.1. Dr. Hockenberry.
You can find the minutes of the prior meeting. It starts on page 37 and ends on page 43. If there are any questions, I'm happy to entertain.
Okay, so no questions. I'm hearing no questions. We'll go to Dr. Spikes, professional personnel, monthly report.
Other than what you saw in the support services report or the informational report from HR, there's a couple of hires on the professional personnel monthly report that I want you to consider approving, please.
Any questions? We're good. Okay, so we have Heath. You have several items here to go through.
Pages 45 through 57 are the checks over 3,000, invoices over 10, and monthly check register. If nobody has any questions, we'll move on. On page 58 through 56 is the budget amendment. There is no change for the net budget. There are just some routine transfers between functions for the campuses. We're asking you to approve. And then on page 62, we have our purchases of $50,000. We're requesting you to approve. The POs listed are part of the campus security upgrades for the district, and they're being funded through the related grants that we have for those.
Okay. So hearing no question, we'll go to 7.6, resolution regarding Lufkin ISD's non-business days for 2026. Dr. Spikes.
Yeah, so as you know, as of last year, we're no longer able to list our days that we're closed as non-business days. So we have the opportunity, however, to select 10 days throughout the school year when we're closed to consider as business days. So you have a resolution in your packet on page 63 for the days that we would likely be considered for us to be able to call them business days, or days where we're closed, and so that we don't have to respond to public information requests during those times.
And these are essentially the same days.
Same as last year.
So I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
There are Wednesdays and Thursdays. Is that normal? Like on the spring break, it looks like it's Wednesday and Thursday, and fall break, it's Wednesday and Thursday?
Yes,
Sure. Is that right?
yes, that's
Because
Okay.
that runs into a.
yes, I think they have done that strategically.
Okay. I was
Yeah,
just
some-
curious. So I
yeah,
looked at
some
the
of the
calendar and I was
services
like,
office
yes,
for
that
some
came from
particular
them.
reasons, so.
These dates came from our public information.
I was just
officer,
curious.
so,
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll move to 7.7, consultant agreement with Region 7 and Lufkin ISD Transportation Director, Dr. Hockenberry.
It's the exact same consultant agreement that you approved a few months ago for Mr. Burton and our transportation director. These agreements work on calendar year, therefore we're transitioning to 2026 year. So we're asking to approve it again.
Okay.
I think those are all the items.
So moved.
Considered.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, that motion carries unanimously. We will go to item number 8, discussion and possible board approval of a resolution regarding a period of prayer pursuant to Senate Bill 11. Dr. Spice.
As a result of Senate Bill 11, the board is required to have a record vote on whether or not they're going to adopt a resolution regarding a period of prayer. So you will have to vote at this time, and if you choose to do so, then the subsequent policies will need to be adopted. The resolution is found on page 70 in your packet.
Anybody have any questions? This is an action item, so we need
Move to approve.
So, I had a quick question. So the time, we don't have to, are we designating a time, like, for example, the Richmond period would be used for this? Like, how would we?
We'll be working on that designated time. We don't have that defined yet, but in theory, yes. That period of time that you would see that she's discussing could be the time that you designate.
I'm sorry.
I would imagine that would be by campus level.
We have a lot of latitude. We have plenty of latitude to determine time.
And that's every campus, including the elementary schools?
Yeah.
Anybody, any other questions?
No.
So we had a motion, did we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Anybody opposed? Okay, that motion carries unanimously as well. We'll go to action to item number 9, discussion of possible board approval of district initiated changes to the following local policies. Dr. Spice.
Those are the two policies associated with it. DGA is for employees and FNA is for students.
We have a motion. And a second. Any other discussion or questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Anybody opposed? Okay, that motion carries unanimously as well. Action item number 10, discussion of possible board approval of PASB policy update 126 affecting local policies. Dr. Spice. Give a little bit,
It's that time of year. TASB policy update 126, y'all. So there are 28 different policies, and so y'all bear with. I'm joking. I'm not going to go through all 28 policies. But what I have given you basically is a synopsis of all the local policies that are up for revision. The ones that I do want you to pay attention to, and again, you've had these to review, so hopefully you've had an opportunity to go through some of them. But what I do want you to pay attention to are the B series, because that's going to be specific, obviously, to the board. There's also a couple of policies in there that are only title changes. And then you have the grievance policies, which I think is something important that you need to also put your eyes on as well. That's going to be DGBA, F&G, as well as GF. Those are very important to look at, obviously, because you all will be a part of that process if it ever gets to level 3, but also some of those timelines have also changed as well. But I am here to answer any questions, but again, you have a synopsis there in that paperwork that I've given you, and hopefully you've had time over the course of the last week to look through all of those revisions of those policies, rather than sitting here and hear me go through 28 of those policies tonight.
Appreciate that.
Does the attorney have any questions?
No, I do not. Don't we have another attorney for that?
Anybody on this side?
Thank you.
Thank you. That's my early Christmas gift. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
This is an action item, so
Motion to approve.
we have a motion.
Second.
Second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Those opposed? Okay, that carries unanimously as well. At this time, we'll go to action, or item number 11, which is closed session. The board will now convene into a closed meeting at 6:20 p.m. in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551, Chapters D and E, of Texas Government Code 418. No action will be taken during the closed meeting, and so we will make our way to the other end of the building.
On Thursday is considered a business day.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, and it doesn't matter if school's in session or not, I guess. It's so crazy. I'm so glad you're on it.
Okay, it is now 6:43 and the board will reconvene in the open session. And so we will move to item 13, board requests for new information and or reports. Anybody have anything? Okay, I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. Hope everybody's safe. And jiggle Atkins, that's right.
Is that sacrilege at the end of the